Welcome to the session on human reproduction. You know that human reproduction is a kind of sexual reproduction because there is involvement of two parents, or we can say that human reproduction is biparental. You know that in human reproduction there are different events. We can call it as reproductive events. The major reproductive events are, first one is gametogenesis, second insemination, the third one is fertilization, then fourth implantation, fifth one is gestation, and the sixth and last step is parturition. You know what is gametogenesis? Gametogenesis is the formation of gametes, formation of the male gamete called sperm by the male individual, and the female gamete is called ovum, and that is formed by the female individual. Then second step is called insemination. What is insemination? Insemination is actually the transfer of sperm cells into the female genital tract. Then there is fertilization. You know that fertilization is the union of gametes. The union of the male gamete and the female gamete is called fertilization. Then after that there is formation of a zygote. Zygote will further develop into an embryo, and this embryo undergoes implantation. You know what is implantation? Implantation is attachment of embryo to the uterine wall. Then there is gestation. What is gestation? Gestation is the development of embryo within the womb of mother or within the uterus of mother, and it will last for about 9 months. Then the final step is called parturition. Parturition is the expulsion of a fully developed or matured fetus. So these are the different reproductive events happening in human reproduction. Now we are going to discuss the male reproductive system. What are the different components of male reproductive system? The different components are testis. You know, testis, it is a primary reproductive organ. Why it is called the primary reproductive organ? It is because these testes, they produce the gamete, the male gamete or sperm cell. So millions of sperm cells are being produced by a pair of testes. That is why testis is considered to be the primary reproductive organ in the case of human being. Then the second component is called the male accessory ducts. You know, the male accessory ducts, they are the ducts through which the sperm cells will move. After their formation in seminiferous tubules, the sperm cells are moving through a series of ducts, and these series of ducts, we call it as the male accessory ducts. Then the third component is called the male accessory sex glands. These accessory sex glands will produce their secretions, and it will help in the development as well as the maturation of the sperm cells. Then the fourth component is called the male external genitalia. Male external genitalia, it will help in insemination. As I told you, insemination, that is the transfer of the sperm cells into the female genital tract. So that is done by the male external genitalia here. So these are the different components of the male reproductive system. Now we will go in detail regarding the structure of these different components of male reproductive system. Here, as you can see, there is a diagrammatic sectional view of male pelvis. In this diagrammatic sectional view, all the different components of male reproductive system you can see. You know, the testis, it is oval in shape. It is located outside the abdomen or extra-abdominal. It is situated in a sac-like structure called scrotum. What is the purpose of testis remaining in scrotum, or why testis they remain extra-abdominal? That is a usual question being asked. It is in order to maintain a temperature which is suitable for spermatogenesis. You know that spermatogenesis will happen only in a temperature which is less than 2 or 2.5 degrees Celsius than the body temperature. So, as you know, the body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Spermatogenesis will occur only below that. The length of the testis will be 4 to 5 centimeters and the thickness will be 2 to 3 centimeters. If you take a cross section of testis, we can see some small compartments in it, and these small compartments are called testicular lobules. There will be around 250 testicular lobules inside each testis, and within each testicular lobule there will be 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. So, can we expect how many seminiferous tubules will be there in each testis? You can say that a maximum of 750 seminiferous tubules will be there in each testis. So, this is the structure of testis, the primary reproductive organ. Now, inside the testis, as I told you, there are seminiferous tubules. If you again take a sectional view of seminiferous tubules, you know, seminiferous tubules are lined on inside by two types of cells. The two types of cells are spermatogonia, which are also known as the male germ cells, and another type is called Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells and spermatogonia, they line the seminiferous tubules. What is the function of spermatogonia? Spermatogonia will help in formation of the sperm cells, whereas Sertoli cells, they provide the nourishment or nutrition to the developing sperms. So, these are the two types of cells found in the lining of each seminiferous tubule. Outside the seminiferous tubule, we can see interstitial space, and these interstitial spaces are with some special cells called interstitial cells. And you know, interstitial cells, they are also called Leydig cells. What is the function of Leydig cells? As you know, Leydig cells, they are producing androgens. Androgens are the male sex hormones, and male sex hormones will help in development of all the secondary as well as the primary sexual characters. Now, we are going to the details of the male accessory ducts. The male accessory ducts consist of recte testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, and also vas deferens. You know, in this diagram you can clearly see the position of recte testis. Seminiferous tubules, they are connected with recte testis. Sperm cells, that are formed within the seminiferous tubule will enter into vas efferentia through rete testis, and after reaching vas efferentia, these sperm cells will move into epididymis. Epididymis, it is located on the posterior surface of each testis, and you know, epididymis is the region where sperms are matured. The final maturation of sperm cells will happen in epididymis, and arising from epididymis there will be vas deferens. You can see in this diagram vas deferens. Vas deferens, it will ascend to the abdominal region through a canal called inguinal canal. What is inguinal canal? Inguinal canal, it is the canal connecting abdomen with a scrotal sac. So vas deferens from each testis will move through the inguinal canal and it will reach the abdominal region, and it will loop over the urinary bladder and it will collect the secretion from the seminal vesicle, or you can say vas deferens will receive a duct from seminal vesicle, and then it is called ejaculatory duct, and in the form of ejaculatory duct it will open into urethra. So that is the formation of the male accessory ducts. You know what happens to the urethra? Urethra is running through the penis and it will open by urethral meatus. At the tip of the penis there is an opening called urethral meatus. So these are the male accessory ducts. I repeat: rete testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens. These four ducts, they are named as the accessory ducts in male. Coming to the accessory sex glands. The accessory sex glands in male, three types are there. First one is seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicles are paired. Then there is a single prostate gland. Prostate gland is single or unpaired and it is located below the urinary bladder. And you can also see a pair of bulbourethral glands. Bulbourethral glands, they are also known as Cowper's glands. So these are the accessory sex glands. You can see in this diagram a pair of seminal vesicles, a single prostate gland, and also a pair of bulbourethral glands. The collective secretion of these accessory sex glands is known as seminal plasma. You know, seminal plasma will provide all the nourishment for the developing sperms, because seminal plasma, it will contain fructose. It is also having components which will help in activation of the sperms, because it is having calcium and also several other enzymes. So within seminal plasma we can see fructose, calcium and several other enzymes. Seminal plasma with sperm cells is known as the semen or seminal fluid. Then what is the function of bulbourethral glands? You know, bulbourethral glands will provide a lubricant over the penis and it will help in coitus. Of the three accessory sex glands, seminal vesicles are actually providing 70% of the secretion. So these are the accessory sex glands in male. Now coming to the external genitalia of male individual. External genitalia in male will mainly help in insemination, and the different components are penis and also the foreskin. Penis, it is mainly helping in insemination or transferring of the sperm cells into the female genital tract. At the tip of the penis there is a fleshy portion and we call it as glans penis. So this structure will be covered by foreskin or prepuce. So these are the structures associated with external genitalia in a male. We now move on to the female reproductive system. The different components of female reproductive system are a pair of ovaries, oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, female external genitalia and mammary glands. Here ovaries are the primary reproductive organs because ovaries are concerned with production of ova or the female gamete. So whenever gametes are produced by a particular organ, we call it as the primary reproductive organ. So in this case ovaries are the primary reproductive organs. Then comes the oviduct, uterus. So we will go to details of all these components later. This is a diagrammatic sectional view of female pelvis showing the different components. Ovaries are actually located in the abdominal region. In the lower abdomen, it is attached on to the pelvic wall and uterus by way of ligaments. What is the size of each ovary? 2 to 4 centimeters. And each ovary will be covered by a thin epithelium and it is enclosing stroma. Ovaries are also covered by a connective tissue sheath, and that connective tissue sheath is called tunica albuginea. The stroma of the ovary can be divided into two portions. The outer region is called cortex and the inner region is called medulla. So ovary is having a stroma of the cortex as well as a stroma of the medulla region. The ovarian follicles are actually found in the cortex region, in the stroma of the cortex. Now the second component, as I told you, it is a pair of oviduct. Oviducts, they are having a length of 10 to 12 centimeters and each oviduct is composed of three portions. As you see in this diagram, the three portions are isthmus, ampulla and infundibulum. Oviduct is also known as fallopian tube. So oviduct or fallopian tube is having these three portions. Of these three portions, which is the part of oviduct very close to ovary? That is infundibulum. And infundibulum is having some finger-like structures, and these finger-like structures are called fimbriae. Ova that are released from the ovary will be collected by fimbriae. Then followed by the infundibulum, there is a portion called ampulla. The swollen part of fallopian tube or oviduct is called ampulla. And after that you can see isthmus. Isthmus is a narrow portion of oviduct and it is a part of oviduct connecting with uterus. You can see it clearly here. So three portions are there for oviduct. I repeat, isthmus, ampulla and infundibulum. Now about the uterus. You know, uterus is also called the womb. It has got three layers of tissues. The three layers of tissues are perimetrium, myometrium and endometrium. Perimetrium, that is the outermost, and it will help in protection. Myometrium, that is the middle layer, and this middle layer is composed of smooth muscles which will help in the vigorous contraction of uterus during parturition or during delivery. The innermost layer is called endometrium, and endometrium, it is undergoing cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle. So these are the three layers of uterus: perimetrium, myometrium and endometrium. Here the uterus will open into vagina through a narrow cylindrical portion called cervix or cervical canal. Actually, the cervical canal and vagina together, we can call it as the birth canal in a female, because the fetus during delivery will be expelled through the cervical canal and vagina. That is why cervical canal and vagina together we call it as the birth canal in a female. Now coming to the last portion, the female external genitalia. The external genitalia in a female has got different components: mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, clitoris. Mons pubis is actually a cushion of fatty tissue that is covered by skin and pubic hair. Below that we can see labia majora, and labia majora, it will form fleshy folds of skin, and it is found around or surrounding the vaginal opening. Labia minora, they form another paired folds of tissue, and it is under the labia majora. You can also see an opening called vagina, but vagina not listed here as part of external genitalia. The vagina is covered partially by a membrane, and it is called hymen. Hymen is not considered as a proof of virginity nowadays. Why? Because hymen can break during the first coitus, that is true, but even without a coitus there is possibility of breaking of hymen by some exercises, swimming, cycling, etc. There is possibility of breaking of hymen. So even without a first coitus or first sexual experience, there is possibility of breaking of hymen. So presence or absence of hymen cannot be considered as a proof of virginity. Then the last portion is called clitoris. Clitoris is actually developed from the labia minora. It is formed in the upper region of labia minora, but above the urethral opening, and it is actually homologous to penis of male. Homologous, remember, it is having only a similarity of origin, but the function is different. Clitoris is having erectile tissue in it, and it can be sexually stimulated. So we say that clitoris is only homologous to penis of male. Coming to the next component of female reproductive system, that is mammary gland. Here in this diagram we can see the mammary gland with all the different components. Mammary gland is composed of two types of tissues: glandular tissue and fatty tissue. The glandular tissue is the tissue which is involved in production of milk as well as secretion of milk here. So here we are more concerned with the glandular tissue. The glandular tissue is composed of mammary lobes. We will go to the components. The components are mammary lobes. What is a mammary lobe? Mammary lobe is actually formed by clusters of cells called alveoli. Alveoli are the cells which produce milk and store milk. So clusters of alveoli are known as mammary lobes. And you can see around 15 to 20 mammary lobes within each mammary gland. The alveoli of mammary lobes are connected to mammary tubules. So milk produced from the mammary lobes will flow through mammary tubules first, and then mammary tubules of each mammary lobe will join to form a mammary duct. Then each mammary duct will open into a swollen portion, and that swollen region is known as the mammary ampulla. And mammary ampulla will lead to the lactiferous duct. So as a representation of mammary lobes, there will be lactiferous ducts. As I told you, there are 15 to 20 mammary lobes. So for each mammary lobe, there will be lactiferous ducts also. And all these lactiferous ducts will be opening at the tip of the nipple. In this diagram, you can see the organization. Mammary lobes are here. Mammary lobes, they are formed by clusters of alveoli. From each alveoli or alveolus, there will be mammary tubules. Mammary tubules join to form mammary ducts. Mammary ducts will open into ampulla. You can see it over here, mammary ampulla, and mammary ampulla will be connected with the lactiferous duct. We have now covered the structure of the male reproductive system as well as the female reproductive system. Now we will try to answer some questions. Here is the first question for you. What is the function of Leydig cells? Here you have a set of options. Option A, secretion of androgens. B, secretion of estrogens. C, formation of sperm cells. D, provide nutrition of germ cells. And option E, inhibition of spermatogenesis. You know, Leydig cells are found in the interstitial space of seminiferous tubules, and you know their function. They are involved in formation and secretion of androgens. So the correct answer for this question will be option A. What about other options? Secretion of estrogens, that is actually done by the Graafian follicles. Now coming to the second question. Which part of the female external genitalia is a cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hair? The options are mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, and clitoris. You know, external genitalia in a female is composed of different portions, but the portion which is covered by skin and pubic hair will be mons pubis. So the answer will be option A here. What is labia majora? They form folds of tissue surrounding the vaginal opening. and below the labia majora you can see labia minora. Hymen is a membrane covering partially the vaginal opening, and clitoris, it is an erectile tissue. So here answer option A. Now coming to question number 3, select the one which is not a component of male spermatic ducts. Our options are option A, epididymis, B, vas deferens, C, cervix, D, vas efferentia, and E, rete testis. You know, male spermatic ducts are also called the male accessory ducts. It is composed of rete testis, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. But here, cervix is actually a part of female reproductive system. So correct answer will be option C. The part which is not a component of male spermatic duct will be cervix here. Now here we have the fourth question. Testes remain extra-abdominal inside the scrotum in humans. Options are to allow easy movement of sperms through vas deferens. Option B, facilitate insemination. Option C, maintain temperature suitable for spermatogenesis. Option D, increase production of seminal plasma. And option E, increase fertilizing capacity of sperm cells. You know, testes, they remain extra-abdominal to maintain a temperature which is lower than the body temperature, because in body temperature spermatogenesis is not possible. So here the correct answer will be option C, to maintain a temperature that is suitable for spermatogenesis. So we can directly pick our answer as option C. Next question. Select the correct sequence of reproductive events. In the beginning, I told you about reproductive events. So here, a list of reproductive events are given. We have to find out the correct sequence from the given options. Can you answer this question? Yes, you know the answer. The first event in human reproduction will be gametogenesis, and after gametogenesis there will be insemination, and after insemination there will be fertilization, and after fertilization, after formation of an embryo, there will be implantation, and after implantation there will be gestation, that is development of the embryo within the uterus, and finally there will be parturition. So which is the correct sequence? You can pick from options, that is option A here. 5, 3, 6, 4, 1, 2. That is the correct sequence. Gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization, implantation, gestation, and finally parturition. So that is the correct sequence. Now we move on to the sixth question. Select the false statements from the following. A set of statements are given. You have to find out false statements. First statement. Seminiferous tubules of the testes will open into rete testis through vas efferentia. That is the first sentence. Is it true? No, it is a wrong statement. Why? Because seminiferous tubules are actually opening into vas efferentia through rete testis. They open into vas efferentia through rete testis. So here it is written in a wrong manner. So statement 1 is wrong. What about statement 2? Vas efferentia leave the testis and open into epididymis of each testis. This is a correct statement. Now coming to third statement, epididymis will lead to ejaculatory duct that ascends into abdomen. This is a wrong statement. You know why? Because vas deferens is the duct which is ascending into the abdomen, and after collecting a duct from seminal vesicle, it will form the ejaculatory duct. So this statement is totally wrong. Epididymis is actually situated on the posterior surface of each testis. So this statement is wrong. Now coming to fourth one, vas deferens receives a duct from seminal vesicle and opens into urethra as ejaculatory duct. This is a correct statement. So if you select the false statements, our answer will be option D here, because statement number 1 and statement number 3, they are wrong, or they are false statements. So our answer option D. Now coming to question number 7, the cells of alveoli secrete milk which is stored in the cavities or lumens of alveoli. The alveoli open into, the options are A. mammary duct, B. mammary tubule, C. lactiferous duct, D. ejaculatory duct, and option E. mammary ampulla. Can you find the answer here? Alveoli are the structures or the cells which produce the milk, and after the production of the milk, it is entering into mammary tubule. Alveoli, they are connected with the mammary tubule. So the answer for this question will be option B. What about the other ducts? Mammary tubules will join to form mammary duct. So all the mammary ducts of a mammary lobe will join to form a mammary duct. Mammary duct will lead to an ampulla, mammary ampulla. Then mammary ampulla will open into lactiferous duct. So here the correct answer will be option B, because alveoli, they are opening into mammary tubules. Now we have question number 8. Select the incorrect statements. A set of statements are given and we have to choose the incorrect one. Statement 1. Sperms undergo maturation inside seminal vesicles. Is it true? Sperms, they actually mature within the epididymis. Seminal vesicles only provide the secretion which will help in the nourishment as well as activation of the sperms. So it has nothing to do with this maturation. Maturation is not happening inside the seminal vesicle. So this statement is incorrect. Second one, 70% of human ejaculate is contributed by seminal vesicle. This statement is true. A major portion of seminal fluid is produced by seminal vesicle. Now what about the third statement? Prostate gland in human being is paired. This is wrong, because prostate gland, it is only gland which is unpaired, the only accessory sex gland which is unpaired, and it is located below the urinary bladder. So this statement, third one, is wrong. Fourth statement, testosterone deficiency lead to eunuchoidism. This is a correct statement, because when testosterone is deficient, the male individual will have underdeveloped reproductive organs. So this is a correct statement. Fifth one, cryptorchids are sterile. What is a cryptorchid? Cryptorchid is an individual in whom testes remain abdominal, or when there is a failure of testis to descend into the scrotal sac, that condition is called cryptorchidism. So cryptorchids, they will be sterile, because when testes, when they remain abdominal, the temperature is not suitable for spermatogenesis. So this statement is true. So when you read all these statements, can you select the incorrect? Yes. Statements 1 and 3, they are incorrect. So from the options you can pick option D. Now coming to the last question, question number 9. Diagrammatic representation of a female reproductive system is given below. Identify the labeled parts in the sequence A, B, C, D, E. So here is our diagram. So you have to find out the correct labeled portions. We will look for the options first. So we have a set of options here. Now can you answer this question now with options? Here the part labeled as A will be myometrium. The part that is labeled as B is perimetrium. What is C here? C here is isthmus, the part of fallopian tube, and D here is ampulla, and the portion E here is finger-like structure or fimbriae. Associated with infundibulum you can see fimbriae. So which is the correct option for this question? The correct option will be option D, that is A myometrium, B perimetrium, C isthmus, D ampulla, and E fimbriae. So with that we end this session on the reproductive system. We have discussed the different components of male reproductive system as well as female reproductive system. So you will be now aware of the different components of it. Thank you.